You're watching Cable 2.
Good evening. Welcome to the September 26, 2017 Winston-Salem Forsyth County Board of Education meeting. We are so happy to be invited that this is our first groundbreaking of many, thanks to the wonderful voters of Forsyth County who approved our $350 million application. If you would all please rise and remain standing. Let us pray. Lord, we just thank you for this time together to meet, and we are so big deal, maybe really aren't that big of a deal when you're facing such tragedy like that. Lord, thank you for this board and for what they do and how they serve this community. Lord, we always lift up our students and our staff. We ask that you continue to bless them and guide them and keep them safe. Lord, we thank you for this time of assembly, and may all that we say and do be pleasing to you. In your name, amen. You may be seated. So, no changes to the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda? Thank you, Mr. Singletary, and second, Mr. Johnson. All in favor? Thank you. So, speakers from the floor. Oh, and you have a microphone. Great. Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you. The primary years program is for our kindergarten through fifth graders. The middle years program goes from as the career pathway program, and Mr. Hardy's going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes. But that has certainly helped us be more inclusive, not just global studies, but really for us is that we do have the, matter of fact, I think I saw one when I came in tonight. The International Baccalaureate does offer a lot to our district, not just to the individual schools, but it gives us a chance to offer some high-performing programs that are internationally recognized. Had a meeting earlier this week at the state level And certainly International Baccalaureate is something we talk a lot about throughout North Carolina and those offerings to students. So we're very happy, and today we mentioned the partnership that the district's always had with Wake Forest. And Wake Forest, I think about 7 years ago, hosted the International Baccalaureate Conference here. So that partnership is very important to us as we continue to build that relationship. Of course, the most important thing to all of us is the students and what benefit it is to the students. And there's lots of research that goes behind IB and the support that they give to teachers through professional development. But ultimately, what matters is what our students come out with. And I think I heard about $900,000 for scholarships to Parkland graduates today. I think that was the number. So it's pretty exciting as we see students. What's important to mention is that inclusivity we're trying to build in all of the programs so that IB touches every student in all three of our schools. Teaching and learning should look a little different in these schools, and that's part of what we're hoping we impact. As always, the effective leadership, which the three gentlemen here you will see are doing a great job of leading these programs. But very clear, high expectations tie into the district goals and priorities very well. Shared decision making, reflective practice. If I'd been smart enough, I would have linked all of these to the district goals, and I didn't think about that until just now, but you can see how they connect very well. I think it says a lot for the IB program that we have over 70,000 educators worldwide involved in International Baccalaureate. And part of the expense that sometimes we find a little challenging is sending all of our teachers to be IB trained. But this is why it's so important, is because they are meeting with educators across the world, not just across the nation, but across the world, and sharing best practices. And we hear a lot about the high quality teaching that's going on throughout the world, so they have the opportunity to engage with these educators, and that's really important too. So I think the best story you heard today when the two students from who are now at Parkland in their junior year talked about their experience at Paisley and building that pathway to success. And of course, that's what we've working toward with SPEES as we grow those students through the program. Mr. Ash will talk about kind of where we are, but we're about the third grade, I think, second and third grade as we started the candidacy. So as we build that program, as those students Paisley and then continue into Parkland, our hope is that we continue to grow the program and strengthen that. So these pictures are from today. They're groundbreaking. So board members, there you all are. So lots of excitement, not only from the students, but from certainly the community as we continue to grow this program. And I think what this said to me was it may have taken 12 years to get it for Lowrance, and Paisley's been an IB school for 15 years, but look at the growth that this has been for our district and our students, not only in terms of the students that have graduated through the program, but the size of the building that we need to continue to grow the program. And I hear that quite a bit from Mr. Ash as well. So, all right, we're going to go in reverse order just because SPEES is our candidate school, so I was letting our reauthorization schools go first. So Mr. Hardy's going to come talk about Parkland IB and the diploma program and the career program as well. So thank you, Mr. Hardy.
Good evening. Well, at Parkland, our vision is IB for all. And with that said, we are trying to reach all of our students, not just our students who come in through the IB magnet. It does not mean that every teacher has to be an IB teacher per se. It doesn't mean that every student has to be an IB student. But what it does mean that if IB is such a great program, then our teachers should be aware of the strategies that we use to educate our students. And they should be utilizing those in their lesson plans and in their activities in order to educate all of our students. With that being said, we look at it from two different perspectives. One is how can we improve the IB offerings that we have? How can we improve our program? And one of the things that we did is that we looked at the way our student spot at one time. They're coming in at a different school. You know, they're coming in at a point where they just got their driver's license. They're coming in at a point where they're more socially aware, more socially active. And so it's a big time, a huge flowering for them. And so what we look to is we try to figure out how can we support them in this new, what the expectation is at Parkland, get them used to the environment, get them used to their teachers, get them used to the new curriculum. So we started the boot camp in the summer. We've since moved it to the very beginning of the school year to try to give them more summertime. Extended essay, which is a part of the program they have to do. They have to write a 4,000-word essay about something that they're interested in, something in society, something in history. And one of the things that I'm excited about is we started making sure that we had teachers on staff to be mentors to our students. And I'm excited to say that I'm one of those mentors. And I have 2 students who come to me, and it's kind of hard because you're not supposed to, help them, right? For me in that aspect, but I enjoy the process because it allows me to build relationships with some of my students, and in building that relationship, maybe they can go back and tell other students to meet with our students. The other thing was so the CP program, and I'm excited about that because when we talk about IB for All, the CP program, the career program, is going to help us reach all of our students, not just the academically driven all the time. We're looking for that student who may be interested in a career, not sure, how to get there, or does, maybe students who are in the CTE program, Career Tech Education Program, and what it basically does is marry pieces of the. So what we're trying to do is get more students involved in education, and sometimes they can see the career before they see the academics, and so we're trying to put that career out there and give them an opportunity to experience it. So right now we currently have about 12 students because we just got it off the ground. We currently have about 12 students who are in the program. We're looking to partner with Forsyth Tech. Right now they have provided us with a career coach, and she starts in October, so she can start working with these students about looking at the careers that they're interested in and setting up those opportunities for them. And by the way, Forsyth Tech offers this program in welding that you may be interested in, so you may want to come to Forsyth Tech once you graduate. About IB for All, and so we're trying to be more inclusive with the IB program by adding the CP program, which is also part of IB, if I didn't explain it.
I told the principals we were going to talk for a few minutes, and they asked me what they needed to say, and I said, we don't have to talk about that because you already know what to say. So obviously they have a lot to share. Dr. Cohn? Paisley IB Magnet.
Thank you, Kim. Chairman Jones and Superintendent, board members, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for being here today for the groundbreaking ceremony. Appreciate that support. We're so excited about that new page in our Paisley history. I want to say a little bit about the reauthorization process as principal of Paisley. It's an exciting time. There's a visiting committee that comes in. It's very similar to the accreditation process in that, only these are educators who may be from around the globe. They will come in and they'll spend 3 days with us. We will collect our lesson plans, which we integrate the IB standards as well as the district and the state standards into those. They will look at our assessments, they will interview students, they will interview faculty members, and they will interview parents. And so they will come in to see if we are truly walking the IB walk that we talk. And we have had glowing reviews for our last 2 reauthorizations. By the way, with that, the history of IB is that it started with the diploma program, and it started in the 1960s. And that was to standardize the curriculum around the world for children of diplomats and folks abroad. So when they applied for college, if you went from 1 students, it wasn't until the mid-1990s that the middle years program came about, and that was for ages 11 through 16, kind of a reverse engineering to get those students ready for the diploma program. Well, when you think about that, that puts into perspective that 15 years ago for Paisley. Because it was only 6 years after it had begun worldwide that this did. 300 students, there are now close to 800 students. When I came to the school 11 years ago, there 4 out of 10 Paisley students, 90%, 9 out of 10 of the 10th graders, the year 5 students, go on to Parkland. We're real proud of the partnership that we have among us, the primary years program, the MYP, and the DP program. I'll give you an example. Last year, we realized that we need a stronger connection in our language acquisition, so foreign languages. So our language acquisition teachers it was initiated by Parkland, the program at Paisley with our MYP. We also, as they are at Parkland, we also include all students. So whether you're a residential student, whether you're a magnet student, you are an IB student. In fact, if you look at our 6th graders this year, all of our 6th graders coming in are, as they start off the school year, they are eligible to stay here in high school. So we believe that students coming in, we meet them where they are, have high expectations, we scaffold, and the rising tide floats all boats. So much so that when you look at our high school program, over 30% of the students there are residential students. So we're real proud of that fact. Other thing that we like to do, and this is part of the magnet program, of course, is in year 1, the opportunities for Paisley students in the MYP is that they can take accelerated math. So a student who is not AG can take AG student can take math 7, 8, can take accelerated science, and actually earn up to 4 high school credits before they go to the high school program. So those are all great opportunities. We have, from the support of the board, we have the majority of our teachers are IB trained. It makes it easy when we have a year like we had this past year. We had incredibly low teacher turnover. So when you can train them all with the support of your school board and your central office, and Kim, where you can go in, thank you very much.
Thank you. Last but not least, SPEES Global. And of course, Dr. Cohn and Mr. Hardy both mentioned the reauthorization process that these 2 schools are going through and have been through multiple times. So they really know what to expect. And Mr. Ash has a very strong team working together to make this happen.
Thank you. So really briefly, at SPEES, we actually applied for candidacy and got accepted for candidacy in May of 2016. And so, and we actually are this Friday submitting our application for authorization. And so we expect them, they'll come out in early spring, do their authorization visit, and after having an initial visit where they come out and just really anticipate and expect to be authorized this spring coming up without any problem. That will put us on a pace of, from candidacy to authorization, of about 24 months. The normal process is anywhere from 36 to 60 months. So we are working much faster than the normal pace of schools going through candidacy. And a big part of that is our staff really buying into it, but things have gone very well. One of the things that we're doing with our staff is every new staff member, every summer, we're doing an induction with them to prepare them. We've done a couple of trainings where we have actually had IB, instead of, for cost efficiency and things like that, instead of sending staff off, they came in June of 2016 and trained 25 of our staff. We're hoping to get approval to do that again for February of coming up, and have them come and do another 25 of our staff. And that will actually complete our official training for all of our staff to meet those authorization requirements. You can have it in place that you're going to do that, but we'd like to already have it done and show that we're making those steps. And so with that, again, as the other schools, we are actually IB for all. Actually, pre-K, our pre-K students actually are getting IB, and then it goes all the way through 5th grade. So every one of them are participating in that. One of our big focuses is preparing them for middle school and then on to diploma years. Is we know that there's a lot more research, a lot more project-based as they get older. And so we really push that concept, which in having them do projects. And so one of the ways that we're doing that is our 1st through 5th graders are actually one-to-one on Chromebooks. And so at any point that they can be doing research, they can do work as teams. And so we're preparing them for as they move up to the middle years, because that is a big part of the middle years and the diploma years is that aspect. And then the other big area that we really in North Carolina, and we're really fortunate with with the way that we structure our school, with each grade level has a specific continent of focus. Each class has a specific country within that continent. But then also our staff, one of the things I wanted to mention was our staff figures that we have, because we're pretty proud of that. But we have actually at Spies currently right now staff from 21 countries that speak 17 different languages, and 36 of our staff are bi or multilingual. So that's 40% of our staff can speak more than one language. And so our students have exposure to that every single day as they're going to specials and to their classrooms as it's spread throughout the building. And that's a big component as we move them on to the middle years. So, thank you.
Thank you, and we just want to say thank you to the board, to Dr. Emery, to all of our partners throughout the district for supporting these programs.
Well, good evening, Chairwoman Jones, board members, Dr. Emery. Good evening, board members, Chairwoman Jones, Dr. Emery. I just wanted to provide you a very brief update regarding the Student Credit Union extension. They run credit unions for many years. Most recently in 2014, the Student Credit Union contracts were rebid, and we entered into a relationship with Reliant, a Legacy, and the Winston-Salem Federal Credit Union. And they actually operate and partner with several schools in our district, and I believe the schools are listed on the agenda page, which schools have partnerships with which agencies, to operate a totally student-run credit union. Have an opportunity to, even though they are volunteers, they go through an interview process, just as though they were employees of Truliant. They go through training. I believe it's Truliant that actually takes their student volunteers to their training facility, so they actually get to participate in real. The agencies all provide a financial benefit to the schools as well in different amounts. That financial benefit consists of the value of equipment that's provided, a stipend for a school system employee to kind of oversee the students as they work in this credit union, as well as monetary donations. And so there's definitely a benefit, a financial benefit. Credit unions also partner with the schools to provide financial management, awareness, and other educational benefits for the students that are involved. And so prior to schools that have credit unions at their buildings, and they all are very satisfied with the partnership that they have and would like to be able to see them to continue. I did ask Ms. Bynum to be here tonight because the credit unions do fall in the CTE wheelhouse if you have any specific questions on how they operate in the schools. But other than that, I'll entertain the contract be extended for an additional 3-year term.
I can definitely see the benefit to every high school. So how were these particular schools chosen and other ones were not?
Sure. When in 2000 we were contacted to see which principals were interested in having a student-run credit union at their location. So I think it was driven primarily off of interest at the time. Although, I think Ms. Bynum would attest to, there are schools that are interested in adding credit unions that don't currently have them, and so that may be something we can consider going forward, but it was based purely off of interest at the time. But we do have a good number of high schools, their participation, but we also have elementary school and a couple of middle schools as well. Is there anything that you wanted to add, or? Okay. Are there any other questions? Well, thank you very much.
The next contract item on your agenda, I sent you a little background. Are requesting development contract approval for American Reading Company. Several of you actually saw WISE American Reading Company. We've also seen great success with this in summer school. So when we began our own summer school in summer of 16 that we used for summer school, and I think some of the interest that you're seeing from schools is a result of the progress that they've seen their own students make here. That we're looking at some secondary support for literacy. Those principals are here if you have specific questions about this, but we strongly recommend your support.
I just noticed the one that before we approve it, or does it need to be Winston-Salem Prep? I am, well, in the board book, I'm on page 16 it's right after request to exceed instructor's fee or whatever, right after the contract. It's where it does the school. I figured it was. I just wanted to make sure we didn't need to see it. Make sure we didn't. Exactly, yeah. I knew everything was right. The other the other thing I was noticing, the professional development form, that they 1% is what they're for the African American students research findings. That's great.
I think that their work in how to intervene in literacy
I will. As you know, Buildings and Grounds, we're all at right now, for Lowrance and Paisley. If you weren't here today with our business for our pre-K students, we have designs now coming out. This is in our bond also for Griffith, Middle Folk, and Old Town, and work has already been started on these designs. So going to be moving ahead on that next also. Meadowlark and Southeastern Middle traffic, as you know, oh my gosh, if you've been in the mornings taking someone to Meadowlark school, you know what the traffic's like, our Southeast Middle. So that's something that's a #1 priority with us also. We're working hard on that. And hopefully we have met with our developed plans for the traffic flow there. We also talked about back to school report. Now, when you talk about back to school report, I wasn't sure exactly what that was going to be. But that is our maintenance and what has been going on during the summer. And it is amazing what has been going on during the summer. You think about cleaning your house, well, think about cleaning all the schoolyard work that we have going on also. Lots of maintenance has been going on the whole summer long. We've had concrete going on, security. We now are talking about mobile meals and being able to take type thing out in the summer for food for some of our students too, which I think everybody would be delighted about and very, very encouraging. Action Ike replacement, and that is what that is. It's an easement. I never knew I'd get so into easement and sewage work, but there's between our schools and the city of Winston-Salem. So that's come up also. We also have approval of construction manager at risk for certain 216 projects that were with our bond. That's Mount Tabor Pre-K Centers and Glenn High School Stadium. We have approval to bid Mount Tabor Stadium. That's going to be coming up also, and approval of the 218 maintenance and capital projects by 216 in our bond package. So we have so much coming up. Just look around. You're going to see construction going all over the city, and we want our bonds.
Good evening. This afternoon, the Policy Committee met and discussed and approved for board action in the 2018 school year dealing with our salary schedules. We're pleased that our finance team has worked hard and been diligent in making sure that all of our team accurate bonuses, so we appreciate that. We also took an opportunity to have a detailed discussion on proposed revisions to Policy 3513, which is in that policy. Want to extend a special thank you to a young gentleman, Austin Smith, and some students with the Career Center facility staff to adopt some of this wording and intent to see if we can't bring our energy policy up to date. Additionally, we want to thank Colin Moore for taking his time to provide us with a presentation about a new proposed policy, 7415, which will deal with pre-qualification of contractors. That will give the school system greater control over the bidding and selection process, and it will give us a additional protection when it comes to actually making sure when our contractors are out on the job that they're doing a good job, making sure that the time. So we appreciate that from Colin Moore. And that was our policy action for today. Thank you.
Listening, speaking, reading, and writing, the assessment had changed from last year to this year and it had become more rigorous. And so we kind of talked about that and how a student moves through the district and through the years and exits out of the program. We then heard from Dr. Willette Nash, who is in charge of our multicultural McKnight. She is our new social studies head. And they updated us on the infusion curriculum. Just a little snippet of history. That infusion curriculum was written many years ago, early 90s. And just the definition is that it critiques the need for equity and inclusion in public education. And so what Dr. Nash did all of last year, American 1 and 2, American History, and looked to see as a district incorporating inclusion, infusing to see that our teachers are infusing the curriculum there. And then we also will take it all the way down over the next year into the elementary grades as well, because we do value as a district. Equity is one of our core values, and so we care that one of the guiding items is efficacy, so that's what we want to do. So thank you to Dr. Nash for doing that, and Rebecca, we look forward to wherever you are, she's not here tonight, but for what you're going to bring to our kind of leading the team for the district and embracing and really taking to heart our core values. And so she kind of updated us on what she had been doing.
For Lawrence Paisley, and if you would stand so that they could see you, I would appreciate, and I think everybody else would also.
So that concludes our discussion items for this evening, and board, we move into consider approval of the James Bumgarner consultant contract. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Parker, do I have a second? Ms. Calvert-Hayes, any discussion? All in favor? Consider approval of On Track Press, Inc. consultant contract. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Taylor, do I have a second? Ms. Parker, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of the Carolina Placements, Inc. contract amendment number 3. Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Singletary, do I have a second? Mr. Johnson, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of Bridgewood Educational Services contract. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Parker, second. Ms. Calvert-Hayes, any speech pathology services. Do I have a motion to approve? Okay, thank you, Ms. Motzinger. Do I have a second? Mr. Johnson, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of advanced medical personnel motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Johnson, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of the South Lake Parker. Do I have a second? Ms. Clark, any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. Consider approval of the CM at-risk contractor for Mount. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Calvert-Hayes, and second, Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Consider approval of the 2018 maintenance and capital projects funded by the 2016 bond package. Do I have a motion to approve? Ms. Motzinger, and a second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions? All in favor? Okay, consider approval of the authorization to bid the Mount Tabor Stadium. So, Ms. Lyda Calvert-Hayes, a motion, second by Ms. Clark. All in favor? Consider approval of policy 4141, the 2017-18 salary schedules. Do I have a motion to approve? Mr. Singletary, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carries. So that concludes our action items. We move into our consent agenda. We have 2 items: approval of the meeting minutes for the September 12th, 2017 meeting, and approval of the general personnel report.
Thank you for joining us on your school channel, Cable 2.